Okay, Year 10 Digi. This is a little video on how to make a website using the languages HTML and CSS, although pretty much most of it will be HTML. And you won't really need to do much coding to do this, but you will be able to identify where in the code you need to change things like colors or your own images. So the very first thing I've done just before starting to record this is I've made a folder and I've called it website. And inside this folder, I've saved 6 images and a background. And they're from various things around the world. It can be anything you want. This is just really for the point of argument to show you. One of them is I've just called background. The rest of them I've just labeled as 010203. And looking at the properties, you can tell that they are JPEG. So it would be best if they're JPEG, best if they're high quality, and in that folder. Now, another thing you are going to need, apart from some of these links that I'm going to give you, that are all from W3 Schools, and that's all we're going to really use. Some basic CSS and HTML, understanding how to use background color, how to do a background image. Hopefully that will work. We don't even need that. And a top nav bar, CSS padding, and a slideshow. And also just some a video and a Google map. This is the Empire Hotel in Dunedin. Now, along with all of these things that I'm going to give you, what we need to have is this Visual Studio Code. Now, Visual Studio Code is a Microsoft program, and it's free. I've actually already downloaded it, but you will need it for doing this. And the reason I say this is because it's just so easy to code using this, because it colors things for you, and we don't have to get into using Notepad or TextEdit. That is not really as usable as I first thought it would be. So go to Visual Studio Code. It's very easy to download. Just look up Visual Studio Code and you'll get it. Obviously download the right type. If you've got a Mac or Windows, download it here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the very, very basic of HTML. Now, this is your basic code. And this is the first code I gave you in class. Now, you can go here. I'll give you all of these links later. And all of it that it really does is give you the basic outline of where things go. If we go into Visual Studio Code, this is an example, and we go File, New, it'll ask us to select language, and obviously we're going to go down to HTML. All right, now it gives us lines of code, and I can just paste that in, and there it is. Page title, the heading, there's a paragraph. Now, I'm going to make this, we can call this main or homepage, maybe a better name. Homepage, there's a heading, there's a paragraph. Now, I don't actually want this in there, so you could just go ahead and delete it. But this is a good starting point because it's got where we're going to be putting a whole lot of other things, such as style. So if you just start typing open tag style and just click on this, it will auto format finish it for you, and then close tag, and it will close tag it for you, as you can see. I don't need 2 of them, I just need 1. So now style is going to go above body. Body is going to be the main part of the website, and everything between HTML and HTML is going to be the actual website. I'm just going to keep that there because we're not going to do too much to it just yet. But this is going to be important for all of our work. Now I might actually save this. I can go File, Save As, and I'm going to save it inside a website. I'm just going to call it blank, and you'll see why in a second. All right, now let's go back to this. So this is what it would look like, but we don't need it anymore. Now, a background of a page. So that's something new. Now, as you can see, it looks a little bit different. It's got these different brackets. So where you put that is in between style and style. Now, it doesn't have to be light blue, but I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna copy that, and I'm gonna go back into Visual Studio Code, and between style and style, I'm gonna pop that in. Now, as you can see, anything between style and style is actually in the CSS language, and I can change this to any color I want inside of Visual Studio Code. I'm going to do it sort of orange. There we go. Great. That's something else. So yeah, that's about background color. Now we're going to do something else. We could have the H1 style, particular color. Now HTML colors use these names because it's a different language. So you've got tomato, gray, Dodger blue, violet. So you do need to know what they are. But there are actually 140 different names for colors. So you can use that pretty easily. So they've got 2 different names. So I'm going to go with this sea green. And there's another way you can do it as well, by picking a particular color, and it will tell you exactly what it is, as in the code for it. Yeah, HTML5 is a slightly different color. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, if we go like this, now again, I'm going to show you in terms of where you put it. So, the H1 style and the P style are going to be slightly different. Borders around a particular block of text. You can do that too. We'll go back to Visual Studio Code, and in the body itself, we can. In the body before we start writing. So right here, right at the front, we can go like this. Now, again, we can kind of go into this, and we can name it something else very easily inside of Visual Studio Code, which is one of its advantages. I'm just going to change it a little bit, just for the sake of argument. Okay, so that means everything in a paragraph will have that background color, and everything in the header 1 will have a different one. Now, I could take that, that's what it's going to say. It's going to say hello world, but I don't really want it to say that. So I'm going to go to the lorem ipsum generator, and I'm going to get some gibberish. So I'm going to have 500 paragraphs of non-repeating gibberish. So that's great. So I'm just going to grab a bit here, and I'll come back to that spot in a bit, and I'm going to put it in here. So that means all of that will be in that. So a little bit annoying when you put in a lorem ipsum into this, because it doesn't have the lines. So it's actually only using 6 lines of code, but I know it's many, 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 many lines. But as you can see, it's been put in like this. In actual fact, I mean, like, some people think it's a disadvantage. I actually think it's quite good, because I don't want lines and lines and lines of that. And then I'm going to I'll just use the same amount, and I can just put it here. Now let's see what that's going to look like. So this is called blank. The blank is only the stuff that we had saved before I did anything really interesting to it. So I'm just going to show you this what this looks like. I'm going to go File, Save As. And I'm going to save it in that side of the same thing, and I'm going to call this. I'm going to call this home page. I'm going to change it again in a second, just so that you know what it looks like. So now we can go into here. Don't worry about blank. Blank's nothing really interesting at all. There's nothing there. But if we go to home page, it'll look like this. All right. So we have lines of text and another line of text down here. Okay. Now, don't worry. That does look rather imposing, but it's just to give you an idea about what you can do. Obviously, we can do something else, which is probably a good idea, and it's quite an important little thing. It's called a break. So it's code goes open code. Open bracket br, close bracket br, and that will create a line break. And if I put a few in, I'll just copy that, and I'll just put a couple in some random places here and there, and this will make everything a little bit easier to look at. Okay, now I can just go File, Save again, and now let's have a look at what that looks like. Now we can see we've got some lines here. If we want to have another line in there, we could go back, and we could put in 4-3, and maybe that's a good idea just to break up some of that blocks of gibberish in Latin. Okay, cool, that'll be enough. And File, Save, and now we'll look at that one more time. And now it looks like, oh, hang on, did I say that? Yeah, there we go. So there we go, some bigger breaks there. You see there's some breaks in that text now. Now, that's all well and good, but without some padding, it's going to look a bit funny. So I'm going to put in between here, I'm going to leave out that, but I am going to involve some of, actually, I'll just see what happens with this. So this is some more padding with a border and padding. So I'm going to go into this, and so this is going to affect what's called a div, and so everything between div and div will be affected by it. Not, you see, the padding shorthand property, what's up here, that's not going to be affected, but this stuff will be, because that's between the div tags. You can do that as well, so I'll go back into this one, and in between style and style, I'll put this one in. Oh, hang on a second. Did I copy everything? Hopefully I didn't copy the div. Alright, sorry. Yeah, so div, open bracket, in the CSS language, border padding, blah, 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 under that tag. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to grab everything. It's very important to make sure you have everything grabbed. Here we go. Now that's going to make a difference. But, of course, I don't actually have too much in div, but I can put some stuff into div now. So div, and that's created the end tag, and I'll put the end tag, I don't know, here. And then I'll do another one, I don't know, here, and the open tag for div here. Oh. Yeah, that'll do it. Alright, cool. So now it's going to look a little bit different again. And now we have this in some other blocks. So there's some padding involved. Now, obviously this is a bit of a crazy looking website, but fear not, we can make it look a little bit more interesting. I'm going to close all these other ones, these last versions of it. Now, so we won't really need to worry about that so much, but this is possibly a little bit more interesting. So using a background image, so inside of style and style, in between there, we can do a background image. Now, I don't have the paper GIF. I don't know why I used a GIF, but I've got a different one. So I'm going to put this in between style and style. So I'm going to copy that. And it's just going to be over the body. And it does have the body background color like this. But I wonder if I do this as well, and I take out paper GIF and I use, I think I called it background.jpg. Hopefully that will work. And I can get rid of this background color now, and then we'll have something else. So let me see if that works. Now, background.jpg is in the same folder as the homepage. Let's see if that works. Oh, it did. Okay, now you can see it makes the text almost impossible to read. But don't worry, this is all just a little bit of a test. Yeah, so possibly not a very good choice of a background image, but it worked because you can see it looking through there, that green dots. Green dots, green dots. Okay, anyway, so that's enough playing around. So let's make something a little bit more useful now. So I'm going to, that's padding, I need that. And that's the background image. Okay, so now we're going to make a top navigation button like this. And it's quite easy, really. So the first thing is to add the style. And there's quite a bit of style to add, but it's going to be okay. So all of that up into this body. So what it's going to use, where it's going to be, top left. Now you see, nothing is actually hover. Nothing is actually about what you're actually going to read here. It's more about how it reacts. I'm going to copy that stuff. I'm going to pop it in style. I'm going to put it right at the top because I want it at the top. Now we're getting it to like, I don't know how many lines of code. We're already up to 67 lines of code. But we really haven't done anything too fancy yet. Now, in the body itself, I'm going to copy this, but some of the stuff I don't really want. I don't want this stuff, and I can see that this stuff is all down here. See? Top navigation example, top navigation example. So I don't need to copy any of that gibberish, but I am going to get that stuff. Now, as you can see, it's got some names like home, news, contact, about. I'm going to copy that, but I'm going to change the code. So copy that. I'm going to go back into Visual Studio Code. And after style, I'm going to go into body. Now, it's got some of the stuff, like in terms of the H1 style, and then it starts the gibberish and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to put this here. Now, I'm going to make one more of these, so just watch what I do here. So I'm going to make another one, and they, so in terms of the code, I want to keep home here. This href, I'm going to take them to homepage.html. Oh, yeah, there we go. Now, I haven't made some of these other things yet, but I'm going to call this one tour. I'm going to call this one merchandise. I'm going to call this one bio. I'm going to call this one about. And I haven't made these yet, but I'm going to call this one tour.html. When it is able to be made, I will use it. This one I'm going to call merchandise.html. Hope I spelled that right. If I misspell it twice, it's okay. I'm going to call this one bio.html. And I'm going to call this one about. Now, I haven't made these HTMLs yet, but I will later. Okay, so I'm going to save this again. And I'm going to see if that worked on the home page. And it did. So we got home, tour, merchandise, bio, about. Now, they don't go anywhere. The only one that does is home. But I don't like that green, so I'm going to go back into Visual Studio Code. I'm going to see if I can change some of these things. Of course, this will be about the CSS. So I can change this pretty easily. Let's change it to purple. And it's light blue. I'm going to change to a crazy green. And, yeah, don't want to muck around with it too much. I'll change one more thing just for fun to a darker red. So I'm going to go save, and here we go. So here's the home page, and it worked. Okay, cool. So we got purple and dark red. All right. Now, what we want to do is we want to take people from one place to another. Okay? Actually, one more thing we could do. Really, so that's the old ones. Might need that in a bit. Is that actually no? I won't need lorem ipsum anymore. I don't need that. So we've changed that quite a bit. So let's start working on some. I'll look up one more thing, and that is as easy as going image. It might just be under image. HTML image. Overlay. No, it's none of those really. Let me just see. Click. Double image. Image is link. There we go. That's what I wanted. Okay, cool. Right. So I might get one more thing just as an example. So I'm just going to look up maybe not Facebook. Oh, geez. You know what? I'll look up the YouTube logo. Now you can do anything you want. You can have Facebook or Twitter or anything, but I'm just going to use YouTube. I'm just going to choose one of these. Everyone knows what this image is, and I'm going to save this. This is a PNG, which is a slightly different one, but it's still in here, and I'm just going to call this YouTube. All right, cool. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take people to this YouTube. Yeah, I could just take them straight to this one, but maybe a better one would be every frame of the painting. So which is also about this. There we go. All right, cool. This is about film. I'm going to take them here. So I'm just going to copy this URL up here because I'll need it in a second. I'm going to go back to homepage, and after I go to the body, after this, I'm going to have an image as a clickable thing. It's as easy as this. href, get somewhere. In fact, I don't even need. It's so simple. I don't even need that really, but I will anyway. So let's take that. Now I'm going to go into Studio, and I'm going to pop that in. I don't need. Man, there's so much of this I don't even need, but yes, I see I do. And where I'm going to take them when they click on it is there. Oh, no, wait, hang on. It's not. I got the wrong thing. Let me just go back to there. Grabbed it. And now I'm going to take them to... Oh, sorry. Now I'm going to take them to this place on the internet. And I'm going to get them there by having YouTube.png. Oh, it was already there. I could have done that. Now, width 100, height 100, I think that's going to work. Let's have a look. Save it again. And let's have a look at what that looks like. Okay, so that means that logo will take us to this place, which is exactly what I wanted. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm just going to... That's what I want to have. This is Mr. Keaton, who was a stunt actor in the 1920s. Really most amazing stuff, because it's all without computers. Anyway, that's a little bit for later. So let's start making some different pages. So we've still only got one page, and it looks like this. So we can take, and we can click this to YouTube, and it's got some some text. But anyway, so let's go and see and make some other things. So I'm going to make these ones pretty simple, actually. So I'm going to go back to opening on blank. So I can go here. I've already saved this, just in case I haven't. That's my home page. Now I'm going to go new file, select the language, HTML. So this, we're going to make some new pages now. All right. So here we're going to have. Oh no, wait. Actually, I wanted to open blank. And there it is. Okay, cool. Now this one we're going to call tour. And instead of a tour, we're going to do something very simple. So no style, no body. It's literally just going to be this video embedded inside of it. Now it's very easy to do. You go share and embed, and you copy this code where you want it to be. Very, very simple. So let's go ahead and put that in the body. And we're going to call this, and we're going to save it as HTML. Now let's just see if that works. So we're going to go back to homepage, and when I click on tour, it takes us here. Great. That's exactly what I want, and that's all I'm going to have for that page. Very, very simple page. We're going to have another one, and it's going to be a it's going to be this Google map. We're going to go down to share, and we're going to go to embed a map. Now medium, I'm going to go large, and then you can copy that HTML. I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to get rid of that stuff we had in the body, and I'm going to replace it with this stuff. It's on a single line, but that's fine. And I'm going to call this one merchandise, even though it's totally not. But I'm going to save it as merchandise. Alright, cool. Now let's see if that worked. So we're going, I don't need that anymore. Don't need that anymore. So if we go to homepage, if we go to tour, that YouTube one, we go back, we go to merchandise, it's a Google map. Perfect. Right, we've got 2 more to do. Now, one of them is going to be a slideshow. Okay, so creating a slideshow is as easy as doing this. So I suggest actually we could just copy all of this. Copy it all. Alright, copy it all. And we're going to go into Visual Studio Code, and I'm just literally just going to just get rid of all that, plug it in. Now, obviously this is not going to work at all because we don't have these same images. We do have other images. So if you go through the code, all of the stuff you can be the same. Everything in green is not going to come through in the code at all, and you don't need to worry about it. Going through it, you can figure out what's what. Anyway, that's all CSS. Blah blah blah. Everything I'm highlighting is CSS language. It's between the 2 style tags. But down here, you start to see IMG, src, and the name of an image. So I'm going to call that 01, and this one 02, this one 03. Oh, it's only 3 of them. Okay, well I could probably get some more by copying that. I wonder if this will work. And then the next one will be 4. I had 6 images, so I may as well have all of them there. 5, 6. I don't know if this is going to work, actually. So that's 6 out of 6. Sorry, just bear with me while I change this. So all of them are fractions out of 6 now. 1 out of 6, 2 out of 6, 3 out of 6, 4 out of 6, 5 out of 6, 6 out of 6. Yep. I think that'll work. I don't know. And we're going to call this one... What was I going to call it? Bio. That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, see if it works. So, I'm going to go into homepage again. All works. Merchandise works. And bio... Oh, it works! Great. Awesome. Okay, I forgot to do the captions, but never mind. Now, we need something for about. And about, I'm just going to do something really simple. I'm just going to look up Wikipedia, and I'm going to look up a steepest street. I wonder if that'll happen. Baldwin Street in Dunedin. Okay, I'm just going to copy a whole lot of stuff. The street's steepness was unintentional, as with any other. Okay, that'll do. Yep, good. Now I've got a whole lot of footnotes, but that's fine. A unicyclist on the steepest street in Dunedin and the world. Okay, I'm literally just here just to grab some stuff that isn't gibberish. I'm just going to copy all of that, and I'm going to make something a little bit more similar to what I first did here. Okay, so I'm going to go into Visual Studio Code. I'm going to close that. I'm going to open homepage again, because there's parts of it that I'm going to keep, parts of it that I'm going to get rid of. So all of this stuff, get rid of that. That YouTube thing, get rid of that. This part, I'm going to put in some of the stuff that I found. And down here, I'm going to have some stuff between these 2 div bars. It's the same stuff. Alright, cool. And then I'm going to save that as, what was it called? About. Right, cool. Now, hopefully that worked. Let's have a look. So again, I'm going to go into homepage first. Home takes us to home and just refreshes. This YouTube clip takes us to every frame of painting. Tour takes us to that YouTube. Merchandise takes us to that Google map. Bio takes us to that slideshow, which I'm very pleased that it actually worked. I'm amazed. And about takes us here. And that's exactly what I wanted. So, great. So it's just another sort of text page. So, that's how we make a web page. Okay, Year 10G, this is another video. I'm going to explain things a little bit slower on this one. So first things first, we want to get a program called Visual Studio Code. Now, it's not available at school, so last week I asked you to get it. And it's free to download. It's made by Microsoft, and you can download a Windows version or a Mac version. Now, the reason I've already got it, the reason why it's so useful is that it speaks all these different languages like Python and C++ and C++ and C# and HTML and everything else that we're doing, which is great. So it's very easy to use, and it color codes things. So I'll just open up my version of it by looking for it, pseudocode, and here it is. Now, the very first thing it's going to do when, well, actually no, if you just open it up like this, you go File, New, and we'll ask you to select the language, and you're going to go down to HTML. So it understands what you're talking about. Okay, so download Visual Studio Code, and then I'm going to give you guys all of these links, which are all found in W3 Schools, to make a website. On top of that, I'll just get rid of the stuff I did before. All you really need to have is a logo of the social media or video platform or anything that you want to take people to, like Spotify, Facebook. Actually, I might. Oh no, I won't do another one. But as little logos, and this is saved as you can see in the properties. It's a PNG, which means that around the white part around it will be invisible. So it's literally just the red part. And apart from that, I've got some images here from around the world that I find interesting. That one's in Dunedin. That one's in Dunedin. This is in Japan. The other one's in Chile. That's in Africa. And this is in Peru. But it doesn't matter what it is. And there's a background image of this sort of textured paper and a YouTube thing. So you can get some more things. You can get some more or less images. Obviously, yours for your website that you're making will be more relevant. But I do suggest that you make sure that they are JPEGs and that they're large, like high quality, and that you name them something simple like 01, 02, 03. Or you could use descriptors, like you could say abandoned theme park or sand or house or something that makes sense to you. They need to be exactly the same file names if you want to embed them into the website. Okay, so that's a folder on my desktop called website, and inside of it are these images that I'm going to be using. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to W3 Schools, and we're going to use the very first block of text I gave you, which is right now. You can go to try it yourself if you want to see what it would be like, because you can change this. This is a website, and we'll change it from there. So I'm going to take all that, I'm going to copy it. Now I'm going to go into Visual Studio Code. I don't need this. I'm going to go into Visual Studio Code now, and I'm going to tap it in. Now the title of this page is going to be Home Page. We can just call it Home, actually. Home. There we go. Now there's one extra thing that we haven't put in that's very important, which is style. Now if you start to write style, it will close off the other part of it. Oh, it should actually. There we go. Open style, close the style, and backslash style. Whoops. All right, cool. Now, in between those two tags of style and style, we're going to be doing some other interesting things in a second. Just get rid of my cat. Okay, cool. So this is going to be the home page, right? Now, I'm just going to save this as home inside of my folder called website. Now, there's nothing here except for this is a website and this is a paragraph. But if I close Visual Studio Code and close Chrome and I look at this folder with my images inside of it, home should now be openable with your usual browser, which in my case is Chrome, which most people will be Chrome. So we open it up, and there it is. This is a website, this is a paragraph. Well, that's a terrible website. That's very boring. We're going to make it a little bit more interesting. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into CSS padding, and we're going to add a little bit more padding to it, okay? So between style and style, we're going to just copy this stuff. And we're going to have that bit of code, and we're going to put it in between style and style there. Now, anything to do that's got div in between it, this, div, close tag, div, and we can just copy that now. It will have a padding around it, so it'll look a little bit different. So if I go save, and then close this, and we go and look at it now, it's got some padding around it, which is a good start, but it's a long way from being anything interesting. So that's what we did, and that was padding. So now what we're going to do is we're going to have some background colors. Now, HTML colors are in fact not called as you'd possibly always name them like this. This is called Dodger Blue, this is called Medium Sea Green, this is called Tomato. But this is what you can do with HTML. And there's 140 different names for different colors that you can get. But we don't need to worry about that because we've got Visual Studio Code that will do a fancy thing for us. So let's not worry about that just now. Because in actual fact, what we want to copy is really this. H1 style, Dodger Blue, Hello World, Laura Mipsum. That's fine. That's fine. Well, I think I'll just copy this, but and this will be in the body. Okay, so let's go back and back into Visual Studio Code, and in the body, get rid of all this stuff. Put this stuff in. Now, as you can see, it's got the Dodger Blue that's just appeared in Visual Studio Code, which is great. So we can click on this and we can change it to any crazy old color we want very easily. And same thing with this. I'm going to change to a bright green. Oh no, I'll do it purple. There we go. And we'll have a look at what that will look like. Okay, now it's embedded inside of this green and purple. Now that might not be what you really want to do for it, but it's just to give you an idea about what you can do in terms of those particular colors. So that might not be something that really interests you, but having a background image might be something. So as you can see, this is actually it's in CSS language and it's put between the style. So I'm going to copy all of that. Now I don't have a paper GIF, but I do have something else. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go into Visual Studio Code, and in between style and style, I'm going to pop this in. Now I don't have a paper GIF, but I do have an image called background.jpg, which is in the same folder. Let's go save and go home, and my background image is there, and it's just repeating itself going all the way along. Okay, right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a top navigation bar. Now this is a little bit trickier because we need to put HTML and CSS in somewhere. It's not very hard. So we're going to go to try it yourself, and as you can see, underneath style, it's got all this junk, which is all fine and dandy. So we're going to go between the style tags and copy all that. So in between style, and you could just put it in straight away because we want it immediately. There we go. And the other part of it, the other bit that we need, is in the body. And there it is. Now, I'm not going to keep this stuff because you can tell that all of this stuff like top navigation examples, some content, is this junk. I don't want any of that. So I actually only want this stuff. from there to there. So there's the body tag, there's the end body tag, and there's all the stuff that I do want. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go into Visual Studio Code now. Go down until I see body again. I'm not going to worry about the div. I'm going to do something else there. Straight away, I'm going to go there. Now, I don't want these things to be called like this, and I actually want to have 4 web pages. So I'm just going to take that line there. I'm going to copy it and paste it here. Now, this is what it's going to. Home is fine. We are actually on something that's going to be called home.html. Can't spell. There we go. Now, I haven't named these yet, but I'm going to call them tour, if you want, merchandise, bio, and about. About's fine. Now, I haven't made these websites yet, but I will call them tour.html. Merchandise.html, bio.html, and about.html. Okay, now I haven't made these yet. I will call them these things, and that's where they're going to be taken. I'm going to save this one more time, have a look at what it looks like. There we go. So I've got home, which just does a refresh, foot, which goes nowhere, and none of these other ones do because I haven't made them yet. Now, let's just go back for a second and see if we want to change some of the code here. So instead of this color, we could have this crazy red. And instead of top nav hover, we could have a yellow. Yeah, there we go. And change the green to this kind of minty green. Change this to a kind of a blue. Whoops. And it's really that easy. Not that I think that it's a good choice of colors, but just so you can see how it changes. Let's go back into home. And there we go. We've got them colored differently now. The minty green for home, for merchandise bio about. Okay, cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and show you about how we can make a image as a link. Now, this is really simple. In fact, we don't actually need a heck of a lot of that stuff, but some of it we do. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to put it directly underneath the top nav bar. So right here, just before we go into the div. The second div, that is. There it is. Now, I don't want them to go to W3 schools, and I don't want it to call any border. I don't need any of that stuff. In fact, all I need is the IMG SRC equals something, and in this case, it's going to be my YouTube logo, and it's a PNG, remember. Height 100, that'll work. Sure. And where I want them to be taken to on the internet is this, the Slow-Mo Guys channel. So I'm going to copy that URL. Don't need that anymore. And I'm going to, oops, what am I doing? And I'm going to go back into Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to take them there. So that's the part of the code that's going to take them to a particular place. So let's save that and see if that works. Whoops. Yeah, here we go. There. And there it is. That's great. So that will take us to the Slow-Mo Guys channel. Perfect. And this still isn't taking us anywhere, but that's okay. Now, if you want to have a paragraph or a break in your text, so if we go to lorem ipsum, and we go and we generate 500 paragraphs of gibberish, and we just grab some stuff randomly. There we go. And now if we put this inside of Visual Studio Code, and we just have it down here, it won't take up that many lines of code, which is actually a good thing. But I'll show you what it will look like. It'll just be this long line, which is kind of annoying. So a better way of doing it is to incorporate breaks, which you can do with OpenTag BR, or paragraph, which is just a P. Okay? although that is sort of its own sort of tag. So maybe even an easy way of doing it is just to do the break. And you can have mini breaks if you want. Well, it's not really the proper way of doing it. You can bring in a couple here, a couple there, and a couple there. So I'll just save that, and then we'll see what it looks like. There we go, and now there's some breaks. So that's great. So that, even though that looks pretty weird, that is going to be our home page. Okay, so we're going to make these other ones now. So I can close this and these other versions that I had as we were figuring it out. And on these other pages, I'm going to have some really simple things. Now, the very first one I'm going to do, I can get rid of. Well, actually, I can. I wonder if I can just go undo for a long time. Go back to how it was originally. I'm just going backwards until I get to a very, very simple HTML styling. There we go, nearly there. There we go. We're back to how it was. I don't even want that border. Okay, I don't want anything. There we go. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this one tour. Although you don't need to, if you don't want to. And all it's going to be on this tour is going to be a preview of this video of this guy filling his piano with water, which is probably, it sounds boring, but it's actually kind of interesting. Anyway, so if you go down to share, you'll see this little thing come up, which is embed. And we want to copy that code. You can start it at a particular point if you want to. You can show the play controls or not. But anyway, that's what we're copying. So I'm just going to go Control-C. There we go. Copied. I'm going to go back into Visual Studio Code. And I'm just going to get rid of that. And I'm just going to pop it in there. Now, it's all going to be in one line of code, which is actually a good thing. You can change the width if you want. So we can make it 890 and the width 645. But anyway, I'm going to call this one file save as, and I'm going to call this one tour. Let's see if that worked. So I'm going to go to my home page, and if I click on tour, I see the preview. Now it's a different version of it now. But, that's great. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay, we'll go back. We know tour works. Now we're going to do something different for merchandise. I've gone to Nelson. This is Nelson in New Zealand, which is very close to Wellington. And then down in Nelson, I'm going to go and see the Nelson market. Now, I can go like this, place someone here. Wait, actually, I'll go out to the main street. Yeah, okay, cool. Now, you can go down to here to share and embed a map. And it can be medium, large. Let's go with medium. And this will be the preview that we will take. Now, as we're moving around, it's changing the code. Or it can be done in lots of different ways. So, I mean, another thing you could do is you could just have this view as well, and you can certainly do that as well if you want to. And you can go down to this menu here. Hang on, let me just zoom in a bit. So it's where am I? Oh yeah, there we go. So I'll just skip to here, and we're going to go menu, share or embed, and then I can embed the map. Again, medium, large, small, whatever. Even a custom size if you want. You could change it to 900 and 300, although that's going to be pretty strange. And copy the HTML. Now, all we're going to do on another page is get rid of that, which I used for the YouTube one, and I'm going to pop it in there. And instead of calling it tour, And the title, I'm going to call it Merchandise. Cool. And of course, I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to save it as Merchandise. Hope I spelled that right, because if I get one letter wrong, it doesn't work. So let's see if that works. So here I am on the home page, and tour, and the banner filled with water, merchandise. We got a preview, except it's a very long preview because I went from 900 to 300. All right, that's good. Now we're going to do something different for the bio. So I'm going to make a slideshow. Now, slideshow is probably a little bit easier than we think. In fact, I can copy all of this right now. I'm just going to copy it all of it, in how to make a slideshow. I've copied it all, and go back into Visual Studio Code. I'm just going to get rid of all of this, and I'm going to pop this in. Now, this is not going to work. If I save this as bio, if I just say this is bio, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to be on my home page, and I'll go to bio, and it will just have these. So when you see an image like this, and it's sort of a broken image, it means there are no images yet on that server. We're using this folder as a server. So I need to change the code. So if I go down here, blah, 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 I can see this is where the IMD SRC equals things are. And I'm going to change this. I've saved my JPEGs as very simple names. 01, 02, 03. I've got more than 3 JPEGs, so I'm going to copy that whole thing again. See if this works. I'm going to call this one 04, 05, whoops, 0.5. Wait, no, 5. And 06. And I have to change these fractions as well, because that will be 6 out of 6. Although I'm not sure how important that is. It's probably not important at all. 1 out of 2, 2 out of 6. 1 out of 6, 2 out of 6, 3 out of 6, 4 out of 6, 5 out of 6, 6 out of 6. Okay, cool. Let's see if that works. So I've got these different ones. Hopefully this will work. Save. And then I'll go on to, what was it called? Bio. Oh, wait. There's my images. Great. 6 out of 6 at the top. I didn't do any captions, but never mind. And it goes around again. And for my last page, I'm going to have a thing about the Cubs, Chicago Cubs. It's a pretty interesting baseball team. It's really old and said to be haunted, some sort of curse. It's pretty interesting history. Anyway, it's a bit nerdy, but anyway, I'm just going to copy some junk and copy it. Now, this last one, I'm going to go back to my home page. I'm going to have most of this, but I'm not going to have the top nav bar. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm not going to have the YouTube thing. Get rid of that. But I am going to have some stuff down here from YouTube. From Wikipedia. So that's heaps of stuff. So if I go like this, and I'm going to save this as about, it's not going to look good straight away, but so if I go on about, that's just a whole lot of text. So this is when I'm going to get rid of that hello world. I kind of forgot that I put it in there, and I'm going to put the Chicago Cubs. And inside of here, I'm just going to put in some breaks because it really needs some. Now I'm just going to copy that whole code, and I'm just going to put some wherever there's a starting point in a new sentence, or some of them anyway. I'm going pretty random right now, but don't worry. Just to help things out. Okay, cool. That's enough. And I'm going to save that and close Visual Studio Code. Now, let's go back to the homepage, see if this works. So here's my crazy homepage. YouTube takes us to the slow-mo guys, that's right. It takes us to the piano filled with water. Merchandise takes us to that Google map in Nelson. Bio takes us to the slideshow, and about takes us to another page, which looks a little bit better. So that's that. That's how you make five web pages using some preset stuff on W3 Schools. Nice and easy. Obviously, make yours look a little bit nicer than mine. So you can think about where you put things and where you put padding in and what kind of colors you use, and if you want to have a title and how big you want to make things look. But that's basically it. So see how you go. Okay, so the very last thing you need to do to have your website sent to me for marking is find the folder that's got all the stuff in it. So here's my folder, all my images, social media buttons that take people away to an external thing, and the 5 pages, right? Now, that's on your desktop, but I can't see it if you just send me the whole file. So what you need to do is called compressing. So if you right-click on it, some options will come up, whether you're on a Windows or a Mac, and it's basically under Send To and Compressed Zipped Folder. And it will make another copy right next to it. Now, that one has got a little zip on it because it's compressed the file. And you can look at it like this, and it always kind of loads a little bit longer and doesn't quite work the same. But it will if you send it to me in an email. So you're going to attach the compressed zip file, not the original file, to me via email.